I was in a play called Stage Door, and it was all about girls in a rehearsal club on 52nd Street. There was actually a club like that, and Kaufman and Ferber wrote this play about it, and I was in it. I understudied the lead, which was Margot Sullivan, and played a little part. And so I was on the, I was right on the premises when Kaufman and Hart started to do You Can't Take It With You, and they kept changing the ingenue, and they had a very nice secretary named Myra Strager, and I used to bug her and say, I know that's a good part for me, Myra, they keep changing it now. I've got to get a chance at that part. One day at a matinee of Stage Door, Morse Hart called me into Sam Harris's office, which was on the balcony at the Music Box Theater where we were playing, and he read the part, and he said, well, now it's really up to George, and they've already opened in Philadelphia, but would you be willing to go down and read for the part? And I said, of course, and my agent, Bill Liebling, came around, and he said, of course. And I went down there and read for it and got the part. But George, who was a very kind man, didn't want the girl who had opened it already to know about it. So I had to just sit out in the audience and learn the lines and the moves and things, and they told her Saturday night that she was fired. And I stepped in and played a week and opened in New York. George liked to change things. I remember he adored Margaret Sullivan because he could write a big new speech in the morning and she put it in that night. But that was in Stage Door. But in You Can't Take It With You, he wrote a whole new scene at the end of the first act for the boy and girl and Grandpa. Grandpa comes back from his walk when they're just saying goodnight, And Henry Travers wouldn't, he said, no, it's too late. I can't learn it for the opening. And we didn't put it in the opening. We didn't put it in till a year later when he left and we got a new Grandpa. But when I was in You Can't Take It With You, I was a tall, slender girl, and there were all these absolutely adorable little character people around me. Grandpa, Henry Travers, Mrs. Hull, my mother.
People have clearly gotten taller in the past few generations.
And Paula, who played my sister, the crazy little ballerina.
Paula Truman,
and George Hella, who played her husband, and also was a brilliant guy who organized the origin of AFTRA, which was AFRA, American Federation of Radio Artists.
And while you were a leading ingenue on Broadway, I seem to remember that you did a test for a famous movie.
Oh, everybody did a test for that famous movie. It was Gone with the Wind. So I thought, well, here I am, I was more than an ingenue. I was a leading woman ingenue, and You Can't Take It With You. I have to make a good show of this. So I hired a limo and a hairdresser, and I told them I didn't want to do a test unless it was in color, because the picture was going to be in color.
And didn't you borrow a costume from...
And I borrowed a costume from the barracks of Wimpole Street, because that was the period. So I get out there, and they put me on a stool in front of the camera. And they say, now you look to your right, and you see Ashley. And then you turn around and look to your left, and you see
Rhett.
And I was just so stunned. I should at that point, if I'd had any sense whatsoever, I should have gotten up and walked out. But I did it anyway. Well, I saw a great deal, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.